Okay. Something to add to this message as well that I just would like to notify you guys that you're aware as well. That I want to bring up in regards to certain information in regards to my company Alpha and Omega and Orange besides that. Okay. My grandfather had a hedge funding license, so he had a Series 65 license. I had it as well because I was I started interning at New York Life Insurance. After I was done with New York Life Insurance, I started doing heavy research on becoming a broker so that I could set up my own business. I was doing this prior to it. I had already had the company opened, but the problem is that I wanted to make the bank and I wanted to make the financial institution that I decided to call Gardner Bank. I wanted to add everything into it so that when you go to this bank here, besides doing cryptocurrency and etc., you were able to use it internationally speaking, and it would work with whatever service you want. We would be able to, as the bank, contact if you wanted to have the credit card. It would just be specifically, you would have a banking account, you would have a checking account, a savings account. If you want CDs, if you want retirement, you would be able to do all of the following in this bank account. This was a similar design that my grandfather had, and he's passed away for a very long time, but similar designs to what I had. It was called Gardner Bank to begin with. I had set it up with this when I was pretty much when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I had made designs of this. I got licensed, and it was stated in New York State. It was stated as pretty much as it was going to originally be set up as a domestic corporation, which means it would be set up as an S corp. But then I decided not to do that. I was going to make it a corporation. I was going to call it Gardner Bank, and then I was going to make it an INC, which means it's an incorporated bank, which means you can use it however you want. The thing is that a lot of you guys in the banking business don't understand is that most of your patents that you have, you are in copyright infringement. So all of these banks that have been trying to make these Bitcoin systems, I'm sorry to say this because of your copyright infringement and me designing this way before you guys, and my grandfather's original bank was not Gardner Bank. It was called Mandracula Bank. That was the bank what it was originally called. That was the bank prior to that. That's what modern day version of what a Teamsters union is. So it's the equivalent of that, pretty much. I had everything in that Gardner Bank licensed and operated even before Facebook was designed. So when Bitcoin was designed, I had set up a system where you could go on your computer system, you could get a physical copy, you could get a paper copy, you could go into the bank like a credit union in New York State, Florida, California, Nevada. You could go to any state in the United States or Europe or China or Russia. You could go into the bank and do your transactions. And you would have your driver's license. But the thing is with this bank, which I set up, which you guys have used this idea, which you're not allowed to use because it's copyright infringement, is in the credit unions, they were using this idea. My grandfather had this patent in the United States. John George Trump had this patented. You're supposed to have your driver's license and your debit or credit card. Well, in commercial law and UCC law, in Title 4A and also in Title 5, in regards to the transfers and stuff like that, when you do any type of ATM transactions or whatsoever, besides you getting a copy, of your records, besides that, I also want to bring something up in regards to what I had patented when I was a teenager. They're supposed to show you, let's just say you have a bill that's due, like a Verizon bill or T-Mobile has a bill. The bank in the laws, which I also had set up and patented, in which the banks are required to give me a certain commission on that thing, is they're supposed to show you an image of your check. So let's say, for example, you got direct deposit. The job employment agency or the job itself that has to do with union and even the private sector, they have to show you a physical copy of your paycheck besides the direct deposit. So this is things that I already set up very, very long time ago. And prior to that, it was passed over. It was grandfathered in or godfathered in. These laws were in action for a very long time. But a lot of these banks don't do that. The second thing I'm also going to bring up in regards to a lot of this commercial banking business as well is the Office of Inspector General is supposed to notify you if there's any type of lawsuits in regards to business and personal identity theft. The Office of Inspector General is required to do that. Besides them not doing their jobs, the commercial bureaus from the federal agencies are required to do that. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to show you so you're at least aware of this. It's called I'm going to put it on my system. It's called the consumer. Here it is, right here. It's this one right here. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is required to do an annual message with you, not on email. And it's the same thing with the 3 credit bureaus. Experian, Equifax, and all 3 credit bureaus are required to give you a paper copy. They cannot do anything online. And if they do that, they're in breach of your personal rights. So TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, they're required, when you get your credit report, and let's just say you have a problem with your credit, and let's say there was a fraudulent transaction or a credit card was opened. First of all, you have a right to free counsel. So you should go to a lawyer, and during this pandemic, everybody's identity got stolen. Everyone's. I'm going to show you the other company that committed this personal identity theft. They're not going to tell you this because they're not being honest with you. This company's called ID.me. They're with the federal government. They're in California. When you went to go do your unemployment, if you didn't get paid by these people, you have a right to file a lawsuit. And if you get a group of people involved, it's a class action lawsuit. I have this here. This is a digital wallet. This ID.me. They're trying to set up this digital wallet. This is something I also brought up to the President of the United States when I had to do an assignment on ethical hacking. This ID.me committed personal business identity theft fraud for everybody. And they leaked out your information on the dark web. And I even told, when I was questioned by agents because I had to do certain things with tax returns for certain people in regards to this, when I brought this up with the IRS, Department of Treasury, they said, we don't know what you're talking about. The next week comes around and they said, we made a mistake. And then this email message pulled up on my email besides that everyone's healthcare information got compromised. So a lot of you people in this commercial banking, you secretaries of state for the New York or New Jersey system, you guys are not doing your jobs, and you can be entitled to get fired and get indicted and show up in civil and criminal court. And most judges that don't understand that, they're going to end up in tax court and be laughed at, because a lot of you guys are not doing your job. You're in breach of your own contracts. And this is why you weren't even paying your own police officers or the military besides that. That's why I set up a lot of these patents to begin with. And that's why I kept copies of stuff. Because you're not being honest. Who says to become a Republican if you're not doing your constitutional duty as a citizen and expose these people for who they are? Which they are. They're traitors. So I just want to notify you guys. Thank you guys. Have a good day.